7 pitch. Harper hits one in the air, left center field. Back it goes. Harper, the swing of his life. It is bedlam at the bank.
Swung on, crushed, and the Phillies are going to lead it 4-0.
Now Harper sends one in the air, way back to right center. That one's gone. This place explodes. It's good. Right center field. Lightning strikes. Right field. Segura's out. Castellanos out. And the Philadelphia Phillies are going to the World Series.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bell Ringers podcast. Your hosts, Colin Daly and Ben Goldstein. I'm not too happy with Phillies baseball right now, Ben. I don't know about you. I mean, the Orioles series is great. Prior to that, it was a little shaky. Give me your insight on that. We'll jump in.
All right, so first of all, welcome to episode 34.
Yeah, 34.
34. Wherever you're watching, so listening on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, thank you for tuning in. This episode is brought to you by SeatGeek. Get to that later. But right now, that Orioles series was great. Taking 2 of 3 and the 2 games they took and the way they did it was awesome. Before that, I was getting a little nervous, but I think this team is based on vibes. We all know that, and the vibes seem good right now, especially off that series. So I think we're in for a good stretch right now. I think we might be back for a little bit.
I agree, Ben. Those were 2 very playoff-esque wins. The style of those wins, they were close games. The pitching was good. The bats did what they needed to do. I think that's a really good sign for the Phillies. When their pitching is good and their offense is consistent, they're a very, very challenging team to beat. Now,
all the vibes.
All the vibes. We love the vibes. Now, there's one player in particular who was not very helpful, productive in that span. And who is that?
The vibes are not with him, that's for sure.
No, that's going to be Trey Turner. First game of the Orioles series, he goes 0 for 2, makes 2 errors at shortstop before being ejected by the home plate umpire for arguing a called strike 3 that he thought was below the zone. It wasn't, spoiler alert. It was definitely a strike. A part of me wants to say that Trey Turner wanted to get ejected. I hope that's not the case. But I'm very glad that he got the third game of the Orioles series off. There's a Phillies off day today, which is good. That gives him 48 hours to kind of reset. And he's really going to need to come around and find his own going down the stretch here, or it's going to be hard to keep playing him every day with the numbers that he's putting up.
Yeah, it's really concerning. It's weird because I feel like it always happens when we sign a big name player. So with Bryce Harper, he wasn't Bryce Harper in 2019. He still had a great year, but he wasn't Bryce Harper. So I mean, Castellanos last year was horrible, but Trey Turner this year, it's really concerning. You might have his stats up right now. Do you?
I do.
Okay.
I have a couple things up. I'm looking at his spray chart right now, and per usual, he is hitting the ball to all fields. The difference, though,
he's still if he's second now, he still is the top 2 leading with the hits with the Phillies team. He's still getting base hits. He still leads the team in hits, maybe 1 or 2, but he's not getting as many as he's not getting as many as he did. He's grounding into a lot. He's grounding in just his situational hitting's horrible. His defense has been really concerning. It's just there's something off.
Yes. So Turner is third on the team in hits. He trails Bryson Stott's 113 and Nick Castellanos is 111. But overall, concerning year for Turner. He doesn't have power to the right side of the field. He's only pulling balls for power. His chase rate is ridiculously low. He's in the 11th percentile in all of Major League Baseball in chase rate. His whiff percentage at 23 percentile. Barrel 36 percentile. All these are concerningly low numbers, and even the things that he typically relies on, like having good exit velocities, hard hit percentages, average exit velocities, are average at best right now, and that is not what you want to see from a guy who you're paying $300 million for the next 11, I guess we'll say 10 and a half seasons.
Yep.
Overall, he's hitting 245 with an OPS of 681. Both those numbers, specifically the OPS, not where you want him to be. I mean, the OPS is pretty far below league average. So a lot of concern there. And honestly, it's hard to diagnose a specific problem with Turner right now, other than the fact that his plate discipline is, let's see, what's a good word to come up with here? An abomination? Yeah, it's horrible. I'm struggling to plug in my phone here. I'll get back in camera in a second. Oh, is that you can see my arm. That's awkward. There we go. But yeah, it's been a strange season for Turner. And while I do fully expect him to turn it around next year and for hopefully years to come, it's just hard to envision him getting back on track this season. Nothing has indicated improvement. I mean, he had a couple hot streaks beginning of May. He had a decent hit streak, but recently, I mean, he's hitting 213 in his last 15 games. 238 in his last 30 games. Make it even worse. 148 average and a 259 slug in his last 7 games. He has just 4 hits. It's weird.
Yeah,
really weird.
It's like I don't know how to describe, because it felt like something was gonna go wrong, because I always look at I feel like with sports sometimes there's always, especially Philadelphia sports, something always ends up being like really wrong. And this is one of those cases where it's just something's up. I don't know if it's the transfer from the West Coast back to the East Coast, which I don't know if that would do anything because he likes the East Coast, or if it's just there's something going on right now. I think these 2 days off are going to be big. They're going to be good for him, and we'll see where it goes.
You know, I see shades of what happened to Nick Castellanos, and I know we've been making this comparison ever since he really started struggling the end of May, and it became apparent. But if you remember, Nick Castellanos started off that season hitting well. Last season he started off hitting well. Do you know what Trey Turner's batting average was on April 17th? So that's like your 5th, 6th series of the season.
I don't know if I want to know.
No, it's good.
Oh, it is good.
338.
Oh.
He was hitting 338 on the 17th of April.
That's kind of depressing.
It is. Same thing happened with Nick Castellanos last year. He got off to an incredibly hot start. And then those sub-metrics, those things that you don't necessarily see on the surface in batting average and OPS, his luck kind of ran out. He hasn't had hard contact consistently all season. And, you know, we're seeing that now with his line at 245 hitter, which is worth about, I don't know, a fifth of his contract. Yeah, I'd say about a fifth of his contract.
So here's my question, and I feel like you're a math guy, so you'd have fun with this. If you had to give him a contract now from how he's been playing this season, what would the contract be that you would give him?
So are you saying that like he continues this level of play throughout the rest of his,
like with how he's playing now? Like that's how a player is. Like,
I don't think I'm going to change it much. I mean, sure, I'm not going to give him however much he's making this season, because that's kind of unreasonable.
I would
right?
maybe go the league minimum.
So he's making $27 million this season. That's his average for the 11 years he's here. So
$7 million a year. I think I would go
this year $5 million.
Yeah.
So let's say we're taking $22 million off of that. So there you go. That's a 11-year, $278 million contract. Because I'm still convinced that he is going to be a $27 million player for a few years to come here.
I can only hope at this point. Although Castellanos turned it around, so
here's what I'm going to tell you: it's not going to turn around this season. No. It might get better.
Here, I'm going to tell you something right now.
It can't get worse.
It can't get much worse than what it is now.
Can't get much worse. He's been brutal. I mean, he strikes out at the least convenient times. He doesn't hit the ball hard at all. His swings are lazy. He's chasing it. Not only an absurd number of pitches, he's chasing at absurd pitches, like sliders that aren't breaking, start 2 inches off the plate. Like, that's just, it's something that very few major league hitters swing at that pitch. Therefore, Trey Turner shouldn't swing at that pitch. He has a great hitting ability that we've seen for, I don't know, 5-6 years now at the big league level, and he still can't. He has not brought that into 2023 and into Philadelphia with him, and that's super concerning. There's no other way to put it.
It's good.
Now, Ben, if you do want to go watch Trey Turner, and it's brutal. I did it once. I don't have any plans to go back because it was gross. How would we do that? Tell me how we would do that.
How you would do it? You would go to SeatGeek. SeatGeek, the ticketing app that can. If it's the best way to buy tickets, it's the easiest way. Go to SeatGeek.com or download the SeatGeek app. All you got to do, go to where you're going to buy tickets, get the tickets you want, and use code Phillies Sports Reports. No spaces. PHILLYSPORTSREPORT. If you're watching on YouTube from the bottom of the screen, you save $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. I would do it. It's pretty save money. It's easy. So
Yeah.
again, SeatGeek.com or the SeatGeek app. Your first time using it, use code SeatGeek or use code Philly Sports Report at SeatGeek. You will save $20 off your first purchase.
I love it. I want to have to do that next time. Make sure I get my discount. Help out PSR. It's a win-win there. Then I've got a little minor league update for you.
Oh,
Today was a big day. A couple of the Phillies draft prospects made their debuts for the Florida Complex League team. They lost to the FCL Tigers today. Sorry, they won. They beat the FCL Tigers. Excuse me.
Let's go.
7. They improved to 19-16 on the season. Aiden Miller, your first round pick, 27th overall. The high school bat. He goes 3 for 4 with an RBI. He had 2 doubles and a single. Bryson Ware, your 8th round pick out of Auburn, 0 for 4 with a strikeout. He left 5 runners on base today. He's still looking for his first professional hit. Avery Owusu-Asiedu.
Who?
From Southern Illinois.
Well,
That's
what
I'm
was
saying.
that name? How do you spell it?
Avery Owusu-Asiedu.
How do you spell that?
You're gonna have to look that one up. It's long.
You can't
He
spell it
goes
for
2
me?
for 4 with.
How
he
do you
goes
know
2
how
for
to say
4
it, but you can't spell it?
I don't know how to say it. That's just the pronunciation I'm going with.
Okay.
He goes 2 for 4 with an RBI. Zach Arnold. He's an infielder, 14th round from Houston. He did not record a hit, but he reached base on a walk. And AJ Shaver, the 7th round selection, he got his first major league hit. Get this, Ben. It was a grand slam.
Wow.
Yeah, Mick Abel, he's on the bump for the AA Fightin' Phils tonight, 4.39 ERA over 14 starts. And behind him, Ben, Carlos De La Cruz, he'll play first base and bat second for the Fightin' Phils tonight. He is a guy to be on the lookout for come the trade deadline in 6 days. If he's not put on the 40-man
It's in 6
roster.
days?
Yes. It's crazy, I know.
Oh my god. Summer's coming to an end. Summer's coming to an end very quickly.
Don't say that. We don't need to hear that.
It's so scary.
It is. But yeah, so De La Cruz, if he's not put on the 40-man roster by the end of before the offseason begins, then he will become a minor league free agent. Any team has the right to sign him.
Not good.
Your standout guy, Orion Kerkering, continues to dominate. He's in AA Reading now. On the season, he has a 1.72 ERA. His best ball has reached 102 miles per hour with a very, very good slider. Importantly, your first round pick from 2 years ago, Andrew Painter, underwent successful Tommy John surgery and a successful
Can we
ulnar
talk
nerve
about that?
transposition surgery. We are going to touch on that, Ben. What are the expectations? Usually Tommy John surgery takes around 15 to 18 months to return. He also had this nerve transposition surgery on the same elbow. So what are your expectations for him next season and beyond?
2025.
I agree.
It's a shame because he's gonna be so good. He was supposed to be so good, and this could really What's he, 19?
He's
It's-
20.
Okay, he's 20.
Turned 20 in April.
This could really cause an issue. Taking away 2 years. And I'm nervous because he's young. I know that a lot of guys get this surgery and they come back better, but have we seen a 20-year-old come back and be better from time to time?
Yeah, we have seen that. I mean, so there was a study put out by the
And
University of Penn.
you're wasting more time from his career. He could have been up at 21, and you would have
Well,
more.
that doesn't matter. He's going to make his major league debut when he's 22 years old. It doesn't matter.
22. We won't see him until
What?
we won't see him until 2026.
26?
We're not going to see him in the major leagues until 2026.
That's wrong. That's wrong. I'm just going to say that's wrong. A study by the University of Penn showed that I believe it was a number in the 70s, the 70% of young athletes who get Tommy John surgery or any type of collateral ligament reconstruction come back stronger. And this was shown with a huge sample they did on young pitchers, and I assume there were a couple infielders in there too. Sometimes your third baseman and shortstop have to get it.
All right. Well, I don't know why. Here's another question I have. Why didn't he just get the surgery, what was it, 4 months ago?
Well, that's true, but you just said it yourself. At the time he was 19 years old, and there's no point to have a 19-year-old pitcher have a surgery that he might not need, especially on a contend now team. And I mean, just think about that from a common sense standpoint too. Why would you give someone a surgery you're not 100% sure that he needs? It doesn't make sense. I'm not a medical professional. The only thing that you could argue there is that how that usually works is anything that's in your tendon or it has to do with that, it usually starts with a partial tear or inflammation. And then when there's a full tear, that's when you have to get reconstruction surgery. So you hear like things like tendonitis, that's inflammation. Some of these other strains that guys get, those are your partial tears. And through physical therapy, your muscle tissue and your tendons will realign and will through mitosis go back together. But for a guy like Painter, there's no reason to rush it. Again, he's going to make his major league debut when he's 22. You say 23 because you're a pessimist, and I'm a pessimist, and I say 22. So there's just no reason to give him a surgery that you're not 100% sure he needs. And I mean, sure, you could go and complain to the Phillies medical staff and say you should have predicted that he was going to need it. But again, at the end of the day, you can't be frustrated with a guy making a major league debut at 22 years old.
All right, whatever. This is why I watch sports and don't get into. Are you wearing the St. Louis Cardinals shirt?
I am.
Oh my god!
I didn't realize it, honestly. I looked down to see what I was wearing. Well, it's not a Cardinal shirt. It's a Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright shirt. I feel like there's a difference.
What team do they play for?
Yadier Molina coaches his son's travel team in like Puerto Rico.
All right,
So
shut up.
that's who I'm a fan of.
I'm done.
You're
going into the logistics about health, and the whole time I couldn't get over that you're wearing a Cardinals shirt.
I'm sorry. Anyway, my last piece of minor league news for you.
Oh
Have
boy!
you realized how good the Clearwater Threshers are?
No.
62-30 on the season. At one point, they had the best record in all of professional baseball, and they're playing again tonight, 6:30. They've been really fun to watch. I only got to catch one of their games, but obviously, I can't just go to a Threshers game. They're kind of like 1,000 miles away from here. But they've had some really impressive players. Justin Crawford, he is hitting .331 in the season, still struggling to elevate the ball. You saw him hit a couple line drives in the Futures game, which is good. Another guy who doesn't get talked about too much, he's a guy they drafted last year, Cade Fergus. He leads the team with 10 home runs. He has an .838 OPS. And he was a college bat when they drafted him. I would expect him to see a promotion within the next few weeks. But with all this prospect talk, Ben, this leads us into the trade deadline. Some of these guys are not going to be Phillies next week.
Hooray.
So I'm going to tell you who I think could get shipped out from the minor leagues. And you're going to tell me who you want to get shipped in.
Okay.
Who's starting? Read the boring stuff first and get my prospect. Yeah, I figured you were going to say that. No one wants to listen to me unless you're a prospect head.
Which I'm not.
So there are a couple guys. Carlos De La Cruz is a big one that stands out to me.
I know his name.
That's good. You should have seen him in Jersey Shore when you were there. he was probably their center fielder that day.
I don't
I'm
remember.
almost positive.
I
It
know.
was
All
him or
I remember from that is that Andrew Painter pitched like 2 innings.
him, or it would be Jared Carr. One of the two. Jared Carr is still in Jersey Shore, though. He hasn't progressed much. So I definitely see Carlos De La Cruz being one of the names that the Phillies try to get rid of. Their outfield, it's pretty locked up. You have 2 more years of Kyle Schwarber, 3 more years of Nick Castellanos. Johan Rojas is looking pretty good at the major league level so far, even though I would argue he's probably not major league ready. I think he'll end up back in AAA in a few weeks, or at the end, definitely the next season he'll be in AAA. We got a couple other guys at that level. Of course, here's your depth guys: Christian Pache, Brandon Marsh, who you have for a while. So I think that, and especially like I mentioned earlier, De La Cruz is a minor league free agent at the end of the season, unless the Phillies add him to the 40-man roster at some point. I believe the same goes for Simone Muzziotti. He's also an outfielder who I think has a very good chance of getting traded. He has success at a high level of play. He's been up to AAA, had success there. So that's definitely a possibility. Usually you don't usually trade your younger guys here. They've had a couple guys who have had very good seasons. Of course, Hao-Yu Lee from Jersey Shore has had a decent year he's put together. Wenhui Pan, I believe is his name. I could be butchering that. He is a very, very good pitcher with a good splitter and slider. And he's been pitching, I believe, for the Threshers. Yes, for the Threshers. And again, talented guy who I don't see getting dealt. The only way that a lot of these younger guys are going to get dealt in your FCL teams, your DSL teams, your low A, are if the Phillies are going for a big guy, a Bellinger, who I know Ben doesn't like, or I don't think that a Soto is going to get traded. I don't think the Phillies will trade for a pitcher like Stroman, Mitch Keller. But if one of those guys were to be traded to the Phillies, those younger guys, like I mentioned, could be an added bonus to get that trade through, make it more enticing if you're on the receiving end of the prospects in that situation. But Ben, tell me who you want to get come the trade deadline. Who's on your radar?
I mean, I think you can never have enough pitching. Has always been my philosophy with not only fantasy baseball but also Major League Baseball. Always take a pitcher first round, and they always get hurt. Took the ground this year. Anyway, my I don't know who I want because it's like
I'm going to give you one.
it's
one
like
thing
so.
at
Go.
If you tell me you want a starting pitcher for anything other than depth, I'm logging off this call. Just putting that out there.
Well, that was the only reason I would want starting pitching.
I wouldn't mind going and overpaying a tad bit for a guy like Rich Hill. You can stash in the bullpen if you have to.
Yeah, I mean bullpen depth is really necessary. I think, and then you need a bench bat.
There are a couple arguments about the
I
bullpen
think it's
idea.
kind of like this is gonna end up being like last year's trade deadline, except you're not getting a Brandon Marsh. You're not
I agree.
Gonna get,
I don't think they're going to go for.
You're not gonna get huge guys that are gonna crazily influence your team. Like David Robertson didn't crazily influence the Phillies last year. Noah Syndergaard had a few big starts in the playoffs. NLDS Game 4, I was at that game. He was incredible for his 4 innings. He's not going to crazy influence your team. Who else? Edmundo Sosa has influenced the Phillies, I guess you could say. But other than that, I mean, there's really not.
I want to go back to what you said about getting a reliever. There are a couple approaches here. I think each of them has validity. So I talked to someone on Twitter. To be honest with you, I don't remember who it is. I interact with a lot of people on there. And I was like, you can never have too many bullpen arms. And their response, again, I think there's some validity to this, was, well, sure you can. When you get back Alvarado, you're probably going to get rid of Covey.
Finally.
But then after that, who are you getting rid of? I mean, Andrew Vasquez has had a good season numbers-wise. I could get behind stashing him at AAA for the time being.
Junior
Jeff
Marte?
Hoffman's been electric. Yeah, but Junior Marte has an ERA in the low twos since he's been recalled from AAA. His
Trade him.
stuff is very, very good. I don't love
Andrew
him.
Bellotti.
Blotty's in AAA.
Oh yeah. Why?
So
I don't understand.
I understand the point there. It's hard to get behind getting a reliever when there isn't a tactile spot in the bullpen for him. But at the same time, I mentioned taking. I didn't mention it on here, but I've said it on Twitter. I know Destiny Legardo mentioned it on Twitter. Taking a Braves-esque approach, right? Our one strength right now is the bullpen. Healthy, you've got Kimbrel, Soto, Alvarado, Dominguez in the back end, Strom, Hoffman, Vasquez, Marte in the middle. That's a very, very strong core. I would love to see the Phillies improve upon something that's already good, making it go from good to great. That's what the Braves did with their offense when they won the World Series in 2021, adding guys like Rosario. I think they added Jock Peterson. And I think that could work for the Phillies with their bullpen. Because think about the games where they're losing 3-1, 4-1. They bring in a guy like a Vasquez or a Marte, a Covey, and then that 3-1 becomes 5-1, 6-1. Now that game's out of reach. If you improve your bullpen to make something that's good, great, that 3-1 stays 3-1 and gives your offense that many more opportunities to come through, score runs, and maybe get a comeback win that you maybe didn't earn because your starting pitcher had a rough start. Your offense was quiet for the first 6 innings, but you have a good core of relievers you can bring in even when you're losing and not have your bullpen be short on arms the next day and the following day, and you can still grab a win. It's super complicated. You can look at it from multiple angles. Of course, there's a financial aspect. There's the what prospects do we have to give up for this? Is this what we want to spend our prospects on? But I almost want to say yes. Trade. Because look at the Phillies roster right now. Schwarber, Harper, Castellanos, Real Muto are all in their primes. Bryson Stott is hitting 304 this season. He's had a really good year. And I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to pull it up right now. I don't know what it is exactly. I have my notes. It wasn't on here. His expected batting average is significantly lower than what it was supposed to be, or than what it is, which makes me wonder, is this 3-0, I think he's hitting 300 right now, 299. Is this sustainable from Stott? Do you think it's sustainable? Because I don't think it's sustainable. I can't hear you. Your mic's off.
Oh no. Test.
You're good.
Okay. You're really looking at it like this? Come on.
How else am I going to look at it?
Come on. Enjoy
Batting
it.
average is an outdated. I'm not going to enjoy it. This is realism, man. Realism.
I don't think he's gonna hit 300 every year. I don't
you.
think he's gonna hit 300 for the rest of the season. He might for the rest of the season, honestly, but he's going to be a high average guy for the rest of his career. He's gonna be, how I'm looking at him, a Chase Utley without the crazy power, is how I'm looking at Bryson Stott. And if he can develop that power, he is going to be possibly the best second baseman in the MLB if he can develop a power. Like Chase Utley did.
Yeah, so he has a 265 expected batting average.
Really, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
And his expected slug is at a whopping 377.
How many home runs does
So-
Stott have this year?
I want to say 10, but I don't know if that's right.
Let's look it up.
He has, hold on, it's coming up now.
I feel like I
Or
should.
maybe not. Who knows?
Bryson
9.
Jeremy Stott. 9. Okay. I mean, that's kind of where I expect him to be. If he can develop
So hold
that.
on. I'm gonna make up a stat here. XOPS. So we said 377, right? If he has a 265 average, what can we give him for his on base percentage? Should we give him benefit of the doubt and give him 300?
His on base percentage is
So-
342.
Okay, so 42 points. Say he's hitting 300 right now. Well, I know that math isn't exactly right, but we'll go 265 plus the 42. That's an OPS under 700 with his expected stats.
He's a 772 OPS right now.
He's been good this year.
Very, very good.
Sustain it, but if he does not improve upon what he's already doing, he's going to be an average hitter at best.
Well, with Kevin Long as his hitting coach, I think he's going to improve. I'm looking positively at Bryson Stott and his future.
I have a genuine question for you, and I could be completely off base here. I don't even know that much. What does Kevin Long know that Bryson Stott doesn't know?
He's been around the game for a long time.
Good Lord.
He's just the
Old
guy.
head approach.
He's just the guy that's there that's going to help in any way, shape, or form. That's what a hitting coach is. They're just there for help. And that's what he's gonna give them. He can add some power to his swing like he did for some other guys.
Don't say Alec Bohm.
I was gonna say some other guys. I wasn't going to go into names.
Go into names.
Pipe it down over there.
If you can't tell, I'm in a bit of an aggressive mood today. I'm really giving everyone the fist. So give me some names. I want to hear who Kevin Long has given more power. And don't say Christian Pache. He doesn't even have 100 at bats with the Phillies. I don't want to hear that.
Well, he developed Bryce Harper's major league swing.
Mine is nearly identical to those that he had in the Nationals. It's a little bit better, but not much.
Kevin Long was the hitting coach for the Nationals when
Bryce Harper has been hitting 500-foot home runs since he was in high school. Next.
Different pitchers. When Kyle Schwarber was slumping when he was with the Cubs, he got traded to the Nationals with Kevin Long. Immediately started hitting an insane amount of home runs. Coincidence?
And what's happening now?
A coincidence? I don't think so.
I think it was, because what's happening now? Same two dudes and a lot lower batting average.
All right, man. Relax. I don't have names on my board. I'm looking at a Bryson stat sheet. But he's helped out hitters. He's helped out Alec Bohm.
I'll give you that. He's a good hitting coach.
He's helped out Alec Bohm. Bryson
I got
Stott.
a question for you, unrelated.
Oh my God! Now
I think I need to calm down. I might go get myself a nice hot cup of tea while you tell me what you have against Cody Bellinger.
It's just there's certain guys that I don't like in the MLB, and for some reason Cody Bellinger's is that guy. I don't know if it's because he was a Dodger and I hate the Dodgers for some reason. I just don't like Cody Bellinger. I don't know why. I don't think he's that good.
Have you not seen anything? I mean,
I'm
sorry. That was very condescending.
I'd rather have Johan Rojas in center field and Brandon Marsh in left field. What is that face?
Have you not seen Cody Bellinger's year? He's been unbelievable.
He failed in a big market in LA. You think he's going to be even better in Philadelphia?
Well, you only got to find out if you try.
I don't know what they would trade for him.
Who they're going to give away?
Yeah, what would the Cubs want for Cody Bellinger?
Well, you have to remember that this is a rental. So
well, how many years is his contract? How big is his contract? How much do we have to pay for him?
I don't know how much we're going to have to pay for him. I don't know if there's any details in the contract if he gets traded. I also know that he has a thing about comeback player of the year, and he's going to be owed a certain amount of money if he wins that. And you have to remember, Ben, that you're paying here for player. You're not paying for any length here. You're getting him for a few months. So to answer your question, realistically, I don't think more than one, maybe two prospects, and you can get the job done. I saw one on Twitter today. It was Carlos De La Cruz and Gabriel Rincones Jr. De La Cruz, we've talked about. I don't know if it's pronounced Rincones or Rincones. He was the Phillies' second round pick, I want to say, in 2022. And he's a lot of power. The stats don't necessarily jump off the charts, which makes me think that some teams would be reluctant more than they wouldn't be interested in him. So that's definitely a concern in terms of the trade market. So the Phillies might value him, I'm saying, more than other teams. But Yeah, I mean, I guess if we're going to take an outfielder from them, they might want an outfielder in return. You could De La Cruz probably isn't major league ready. They could try it, but I don't think it would be overly successful, to be honest with you. And Rincones is definitely not ready. That would be more of a future, hold him in the minor leagues. Hopefully, he pans out to be a good player in 2-3 years. But I don't really think a package for Bellinger would be overwhelming. It's possible they might want some pitching because they're likely going to trade Kyle Hendricks and Marcus Stroman.
Exactly. There's my problem. The pitching. Who are you going to trade that pitches? Are you going to trade McAble? Are you going to trade Andrew Painter? That's who the Cubs are going to want for.
No,
losing
we're not
guys.
trading Andrew Painter unless we're going to get Otani, Soto,
What are your thoughts on Otani being off the trade
Goldschmidt,
market?
Arenado. He wasn't going to get traded anyway. I mean, it changes nothing. It literally changes nothing. There was a 0% chance of him getting traded. Mark my words.
Okay. I bet you someone
He
would have
wasn't
given
getting traded.
someone would have given him some kind of deal. I bet you, and the Angels would have taken.
Art Moreno wants. I think Art Moreno. First of all, don't get me wrong. Shohei Otani is the best player to ever play baseball, but I think Art Moreno would overvalue him. That's my thing on that. But no, I don't think a deal for Bellinger would be overwhelming.
Well, okay, I'm gonna cut you off there. Bellinger's last 7 games, 29 ABs. He scored 3 runs. He has 10 hits, 3 homers, 11 RBIs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. He's has an average of 345 and on base percentage of 323 and a slugging of 724 in his last 7. So he's hot. In his last 15, he has an average of 362 with 7 homers.
He's been really good.
He can play first base.
He can play the outfield. It solves every problem the Phillies need. Like, there is no worst case scenario with Bellinger. I mean, I guess you could say worst case scenario, he cripples in the Philadelphia market, like Ben suggested earlier.
I don't like the
what?
number 24 though on the Phillies.
Good Lord.
Was he 24 with the Dodgers? No. No, he was not. There's no way. There's no way.
I don't know anyone's number who's not on the Phillies.
There's no way he was
Numbers
number
are so irrelevant. I know Judge is 99. I know Trout's 27. That's it.
There's no way he was 24. He was 35. I knew
There
it.
you go.
Knew it. I was like, what?
But you see, there are the Phillies have pitching prospects aside from your big 3. I mean, like I said, Orion Kerkering, ridiculous year.
I've never heard of him in my life.
I literally mentioned him like 15 minutes ago.
What's his name?
Orion Kerkering, 102-mile-per-hour fastball, plus slider.
Oh, that guy.
Alex McFarlane is having a pretty good season. There are guys. They might not be guys you hear about because it happens that 3 of our best prospects happen to be pitchers. But there are a plethora of minor league guys who teams would be really willing to swoop up at the deadline. And that works in Philly's favor. So I guess I would say my deadline, they're not getting Bellinger, honestly. They're going to get a good reliever.
I think we should just stick Jake Cave. We should stick with Jake Cave in left field. He knows how to catch. He knows how to catch baseballs.
Johan Rojas can do it better.
Is Johan Rojas putting his life on the line, banging into walls? I don't think so. Jake Cave is my left fielder.
Jake Cave can go bury himself in a cave.
That was
not like in a die way, just like a hang out in the cave and don't come back way.
That was very
I'll make sure the cave has nice amenities, but it doesn't have to be in Philadelphia. No, Johan Rojas in center.
Can he at least get some like Wawa or something?
He's not Kyle Schwarber. He doesn't need Wawa.
He can have a hoagie.
Fine, he can have a hoagie. Whatever. I think they're going to get a bullpen guy and probably a right-handed bat. I don't think they're going to go Bellinger. because
You
he's
mean
a
left-handed
lefty,
bat?
and
Oh.
no, they're gonna get a right-handed bat. They're not gonna go Bellinger because he's a lefty. It could be, like you said, potentially expensive. Um, I don't think Pham. He's a little bit of a strange bird. I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff on Twitter about Tommy Pham.
Oh yeah, I don't
Um,
like Tommy Pham at all. I do not like Tommy.
Duvall is not going to get traded.
I hate Tommy.
Grichuk, I'm not sold on. Brent Rooker would be nice.
What does Tommy
I could
Pham
get
tweet?
behind Brent Rooker.
Wait, were you saying Tommy Pham tweet stuff? Or?
Yeah, he put do milfs, not drugs.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I don't need that in our clubhouse.
No. It's good at vibes.
Yeah, those aren't the vibes we have though. He's like, come sit in the corner and complain with me vibes. We have dancing on my own vibes.
I'm right over here.
Here,
Watching
you see me.
Copyright.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Anyway.
So yeah, my prediction, give me bullpen arm. Honestly, I would be thrilled. Give me Brent Rooker and David Bednar. That would be ridiculous. Bednar is electric out of the pen. Rooker, it's crazy to say. I don't know if he would play every day. I don't even know. Is he a lefty or a righty? I'm not here saying names. I don't even know who these people are. I believe he's a righty.
Prospects. That's how I feel when you talk about prospects.
When I talk about what? Oh, yeah, he is a righty. So I see them going and grabbing Brent Rooker. 16 home runs. He's only hitting 239, but he's been a home run guy, and the Phillies do not have that aside from thank you, Schwarber. Yeah, that guy. But I mean, you can look at those numbers, Ben. 188 compared to 239, there's a difference there. And I don't even know if Schwarber's still up at 188. That was like in his good times. My other, I don't know if I want to call it a concern, is the starting pitching depth. Because right now, if one of our pitchers, who the thing is, on the surface, their numbers aren't great. I'll give you that. Suarez, on the surface, numbers aren't great. Same with Walker, Wheeler, Nola. They have been sneaky good, though.
Yeah,
Taijuan Walker, I'm okay with the way he's been. He has done his job. Christopher Sanchez has by far done his job. He was excellent his last few starts. Best start of his career, undoubtedly. In that game one against the Orioles, he went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs. I think he struck out 8. Zach Wheeler, he leads Major League Baseball's pitchers in F4.
What does F4 mean?
Are you asking or am I explaining it for? So F means Fangraphs. Since it's not a calculated metric, it's something that is variable. It smells good in my house. I wonder if my mom is making dinner. Anyway, just notice that. Anyway, since it's a variable stat, it varies depending on where you look. Baseball Reference and Fangraphs are your big two. And his 4.0 wins above replacement, which is basically a comparison to a comparable, reasonable player of the same position, meaning that Wheeler has been arguably one of the best pitchers in baseball this season, despite his ERA at 3.88, which again, it's not terrible if you look at some other starting pitchers. I mean, the Cardinals and Cubs on Saturday have Jameson Taillon, who has an ERA in the 6s, going against Adam Wainwright, who has an ERA in the 7s. So in the grand scheme of things, 3.88, not too shabby. But his expected ERA is so much lower, which is why his WAR is so good. He's gotten ridiculously unlucky with the defense behind him. He has the most amount of soft hits, like low exit velocity base hits of any pitcher in baseball by a lot. So Wheeler's been sneaky good. Nola makes me want to blow my brains out every time I watch him pitch.
God.
But other than the home runs, he has been one of the best we've seen. One of the best years from Nola. Aside from the home runs, I'll give you that. It's atrocious. His ERA is high, but he doesn't allow a lot of hits. Why he has such a low whip. His curveball, when it's not as consistent as last year, but when it's there, it's good. Very good.
You want to hear who's very good?
Who?
Shohei Ohtani. Game one.
Shohei Ohtani.
Game one, he threw a complete game shutout, allowing that one hit. Game two,
And then he hit a home run. We know.
not only he has 2 home runs.
Oh gosh, no way.
Yeah.
That man is not real.
Speaking of very good, the Phillies are tied for the second wild card spot. They were tied for first last night, but the Giants won. You replied to the tweet and you said comical, sad, undeserving. Please expand.
Did I say that?
Yeah, he said comical, sad, undisturbing. At Ben Goldstein and I will talk more on the Bell Ringers podcast tomorrow. Be there or don't be.
What time was that last night? I want to know what I was doing that made me so angry.
9:11 p.m.
I think I was watching The Lincoln Lawyer.
Did you see Oppenheimer?
I did not.
It's so good.
I'm not a movie guy.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, I
should be.
know.
You should be. For
I've
this
been binging a couple Netflix shows this summer. Very enjoyable.
You know what's more enjoyable? Sitting for 3 hours watching up.
Good
Do it.
lord.
I highly recommend. Do it.
Yeah, no, not a chance.
Okay.
Um,
That's on you.
no way. Well, what was my first adjective that I used?
Comical.
Well, yeah, these games have been pretty comical. It's comical because they're atrocious. The Phillies the last week and a half.
5-5 in the last 10. They've won their last 10. Just won the series against the best team in the American League. Second best team in baseball.
Orioles will be cooling off in a few weeks. They're pitching. Listen, actually, here's my bold take. The Orioles are not going to make it out of their first round of the playoffs. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they were swept. Pitching is huge, and the Orioles don't have it, period. That's it.
Why are you disrespecting the O's? We like the O's.
Who said it like yous?
Phillies teamed up with the Orioles for the All-Star game.
I wrote about that in my series preview. Don't care. In the article, I care, but truthfully, I don't care. If you want to know the real Colin Dale, you need to be on this podcast because
This is unfiltered content.
The Orioles are, I'm sorry, the Orioles are overrated. They're not that good. I mean, like their offense, they're starting Jorge Mateo. Let's be for real now. Yes, he started off the season ridiculously hot. He was a good shortstop. He had very uncalled for power. He's been atrocious since.
All right, the second.
What was the
adjective
second
you
one?
used. Sad.
That's how I feel every night at 7:05 or 6:40 now.
Jesus, Colin.
Well, here I'll give you my reason for sad.
Get this
Phillies'
man to a
14
therapist.
Of the Phillies' last 14 games, how many of those games have they gotten the first run in? 1. Why can't I ever have something nice? Why can't we ever have something nice? Please score first. Maybe, just a suggestion. Maybe it's because the top 2 guys hitting in your lineup is a guy hitting 188 and a guy who has an OPS over 700. Under 700. Think there's a reason for that?
Well, we're playing the Pittsburgh Pirates this weekend, so we have a little bit of hope. The third one you used, undeserving.
That just sums up the whole thing. They haven't been good the last few weeks. The offense is underwhelming. They still haven't heated up. The only thing we've got going for us is Bryce Harper and Bryson Stott. They're the only 2 competent players right now, aside from the pitching staff. Ultimately, 5-5 isn't a playoff team. You said you reasoned with me they're 5-5 in their last 10, but a playoff team would be 6-4. They'd be 7-3.
What about Alec Bohm? You don't like what's your beef with Alec Bohm, man?
First of all,
Nice
button
hair.
your shirt. No one needs to see that.
That's Nick Castellanos, right?
But that's not my. Why is my computer having a stroke over here? It started making. There we go. It's back.
Odd.
It just. Look, I don't have anything against Alec Bohm, but you're not gonna like this. But he has a negative B War.
Come on, bro. Come on. Stop it with your
He's been-
stupid stats. Stop. Please.
They're not stupid stats. They're very valid stats. And listen, Alec Boehm has been better than his B War gives. Yeah, he has a positive F War. That makes me feel better. I compared the two
All
yesterday.
right, you ready for this, people?
Um,
For those who are listening, Colin's the math guy. I'm not. So if you want to listen to stats, follow Colin Daly on Twitter.
Thank you.
If you still follow him, if you don't
If
like,
you want Oppenheimer content, that's your man.
if you want real life stuff, not numbers, but how the team actually looks on the field, follow Ben Gold.
He looks great on the field. When he does the high socks, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. The hair's nice. I'll give him the hair. The hair. The hair
I'm
was
not
nice.
talking
You know what?
about
I would
that.
pay his
I'm
hair on the
talking
day.
about the performance. Like you were talking
Well,
about
yeah.
Bryson
And his
Stotts.
performance has led to a negative 0.1 B War.
Who hit the walk-off the other night? Who's
You mean
constantly
the
getting on
walk-off
base?
that barely squeaked through the infield?
It was exactly what he needed to do.
It's fair.
Get a base hit. And he did
Again,
that.
Alec Boehm has been good this season. I will give him that. I have been impressed by his performance. He's
a negative
come up incredibly clutch. His defense has improved, but the whole Alec Boehm's an all-star third baseman.
I never said that.
I know you didn't say that, but people are saying this. This is a podcast, the people, Ben. This isn't the Ben Goldstein show. This is
All
the
right,
people
that's it.
show.
All right, I'm your boss. All right, cool it down. Gee,
Can we rename this? I want to call it the people show.
no.
This
All
is
right,
the people show.
What else do we have on this agenda that we need to talk about? Oh, the next week. Here we go. This is exciting. This is my favorite part.
This is when I get to really lose it. The pessimism it all builds up to this.
That's why it's my favorite part. If I stop getting pop-ups on Phillies.com, it will load. All right, here we go. The next week, July is almost over. So the 3-game series, we head to Pittsburgh to play the Pirates. A little reunion with Andrew McCutchen this weekend. And then we head out to a place we love to play to start August for a 4-game series. Miami. We have a 4-game series in Miami. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we come home and we play Colin's Kansas City Royals for 3.
My Kansas City Royals?
Yes.
Why?
What up? So it's 3 against the Pirates. It's 4 against the Marlins. And then it's 3 at home against the Kansas City Royals.
So that's a 10-game span. Are we doing the expectation or are we
So
doing...
I am saying what we should. We should sweep the Pirates because they stink. We'll probably end up losing 1 because we're the Phillies. So we'll go 2-1, and then against the Marlins we'll split because we never play well there. So 2 + 2 is 4. That's 4 and 3, and then the Royals at home. That Friday they're giving away a sustainable Phillies cap. The Saturday
they got to win on the cap day.
I'm going to that game. Saturday they're doing is photo night. Sunday they're giving away a Schwarber jersey for kids, which is ridiculous because I wish I was a kid so I could get the jersey. So we should sweep the Royals. So what I'm thinking, Colin, personally, 7-3.
I'm going to go 7-3 too.
Woo!
I
We
also
agree
have
on
7-3.
something.
I have them sweeping the Pirates, everyone's hopes up, splitting with the Marlins, and then everyone's kind of like, eh. Then they're going to lose the first game of the Royal Series.
When I'm there, come
and then everyone's going to complain.
No.
These guys are terrible.
No.
Worst team in the American
Can we
League.
not do the first game, please? Because I'll be there.
I'm just telling you how I see this.
No.
And then they're going to win the last 2, and Ben's going to be sad.
Yeah.
I'm out for blood today.
I'm going to my friend. It's my friend's like birthday that day, which is why we're going. So I'm trying to like. So they should win for his birthday.
How old is his friend turning?
15.
I think there are going to be 15 Phillies runs that night.
Let's go! How many will the Royals score?
16,
16. One for good luck. All right. Anyway, so we're both going 7-3. This was a very exciting episode. We disagreed on a lot, but something we can agree on is that you should go to SeatGeek and use code Philly Sports Report and save $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Yeah. So this has been it from us. We love Phillies baseball. Colin,
We do.
anything else with your St. Louis Cardinals shirt on, recording a Phillies podcast?
I don't know. Do you want me to say anything else? I don't know if I want myself to say
No,
anything else.
so rate us on the podcast apps if you're listening there. Even if you're not, rate us. Just give us 5 stars if you really feel like it. That would be appreciated. Like and subscribe on YouTube. All of our links were in the bio of the YouTube channel of the YouTube video. If you're not listening on YouTube, then go to phillysportsreports.com to read the articles. Philly Sports Reports on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Then follow Colin and I on Twitter and follow Colin on Threads because he's on Threads now.
You're not on Threads?
I can't have 2 accounts on Threads, so I'm just have the Philly Sports Reports account.
You can't have 2. Is that like an Instagram thing? You can't have multiple accounts?
On Instagram, I have multiple accounts, but for Threads, I have to log in and log out. It's a pain in the tuchus. I can't just switch, so I don't do it.
Makes sense. All right. Well, I do believe that is all from us. Do all those things Ben told you. We would really, really appreciate that. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening. Go Phillies.
Bye.